Babies should not have their father's last name.
My woke take of the day is that babies should not have their father's last name. Babies should have the last name of the human being that birthed them and spent 9 months making them as an actual physical human being, not the person who came inside of the person who actually is going to make the baby. Also, it would be far easier if children had the last names of their mothers so they can identify them up a family tree. I think it's... Hey, Shalom, brother. Shalom. This is Brother Rahawad of GMS Toronto, coming back with another one. And the reason why this mindset did not work in the past and it's not going to work now is because a baby actually comes from its father, right? Through sperm, right? That's where you get your lineage. You get your lineage from your father. You are actually in your father's nutsack, whether you are a man or whether you are of the woman. The role of the woman is very, very vital, very important, but the seed of man comes from man, and the seed of a woman comes from a man as well. The reason why it was so important to have your father's last name, or to know what tribe you came from, was also for inheritance, right? It lets you know that you were going to receive this, or you were going to receive this because you were from this house, or you were from this tribe, or you were from this lineage, right? You have a lineage of kings, right? Which denotes rulership and certain land titles. That's why so many wars were fought back in the day, especially during the Dark Ages or the medieval times, because you would have bastards, quote unquote, right, that would claim inheritance from 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 the actual good lineage, because to be a bastard just means that you were fathered, quote unquote, outside of marriage, right? And a lot of us, right, even during this time, in this day and age, we are, quote unquote, bastards, right? Because we were fathered, quote unquote, outside of marriage, even though we know, according to this truth, this knowledge, this wisdom, and this understanding, that sex denotes marriage. Virginity denotes marriage, meaning that whoever a woman lays with first, that is her husband, according to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High Yahweh, right? According to that knowledge, a woman that is a virgin, when she loses her virginity, she is tied to that man for life, or until the end of his life. Okay? Now this is Romans chapter 7, verse 1, and it reads, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, right? Judges, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth, right? Which is a part of our curse. A part of our curse is that we're in these bodies, and the law, right? The statutes, the commandments, they have dominion over us. And once we break them, right, we are going to be judged. Verse 2, for the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so as long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. That's why the scripture says, to death do us part. But that's really unto the wife. The man, he can have more than one woman, but that woman is bound to that man that takes her virginity until that man is dead. Okay, it says, for the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. What is that bond? That's a blood bond, right? Because when a woman gets cut, which is where you get the word sex simply means to cut, right? Because what you do, you break the hymen. And once you break the hymen, that blood, right? That blood that happens because of the cut,
That's the contract, because back in the day, during marriage, right, that white dress was for the hymen, right? The blood will spill upon the white dress, and the father of the daughter, right, the father of the wife, would keep that white dress in case the husband wanted to contest her virginity. Okay? Verse 3, it reads, "So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man," meaning she goes and have sex with another man, "she shall be called an adulteress." Okay? Which the majority of our women are today, right? That's why the scripture says what? Now, this is Matthew chapter 16, verse 4, and it reads, "A wicked and adulterous generation," right? Because we're living in a wicked and adulterous generation. Let's see if we can define the word. No, it won't allow me to define it. That's okay. Now, this is the word.
Adulterous.
It says of or involving adultery. It says unfaithful, faithless. Hold on, let's get the word adultery. This is the word adultery, and it says voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person who is not his or her spouse. Now, the only way a man can commit adultery is if he sleeps with another man's wife. That's when a man is an adulteress, or he's doing adultery. If a man, right, which we basically all have, because none of these women are virgins, right? If you're sleeping with a woman that's not a virgin, that's adultery. Okay, you women, you commit adultery by sleeping with any other man other than the man that took your virginity. The man that took your virginity is your husband.
Family tree. I think it's really dumb to have the father's last name because, like, fathers can have like 30 different babies in 1 year.
Exactly. That's the point. Right? That is the exact point. Why the seed or the child should have the name of the father, so you know what house that child is coming from. If the child has the or keeps the name of the woman, then it can get convoluted. Right? Let's look that word up. Now, this is the word
convoluted,
and it means especially of an argument, story, or sentence, extremely complex and difficult to follow, right? So if the child has the mother's last name, right, like the Israelis, right, the people in the land of Israel today, that's what they follow. They follow the last name of the woman. It gets very convoluted because it's going to be extremely complex and difficult to follow, because the woman is still getting the last name from her father, right? Your woman or your wife, her last name is still from a man, but that's not the man of your child. Okay? She got her last name from her father. The woman does not denote ownership. The man denotes ownership. Now, obviously, in the time that we're living in today, the ownership is onto the banking cartels, the banking families through birth certificates, right? We are owned by corporations. Okay, that's why our names, if you have a letter right in front of you, or you go to your mailbox, your name is in all caps. Your name is in all caps because you are a representation of a corporation. You're not a person. Okay, you are a citizen. You are not a flesh and blood human being. You are owned. You are bought and paid for. That's why you have a SIN number. Okay? You are not real. You, as whatever your first and last name is, you are not a real person. You are really and truly a number, right? The number that has been tied to you through birth, that is your real name. That's why the banking cartels want to give us the RFID, because you're not a person, you're just a number. So calling yourself who you are, trying to track your lineage, oh, I'm African, or I'm Canadian, I'm this, I'm that. To the banking cartels, you are just a number. You are a number. That's all that you are. You are a number. And then the faster you people find that out, the faster you're going to understand the current system that we're under. Okay? What we are bringing back, right, through the patriarchy, we are bringing back order through Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, through our lineage. Why? Because then you can expel all of the corporate ties that these current elites have. These current elites are really and truly servants. The scripture says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants. The reason why they had to do away with lineage, right, through the true elites, who are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American men, is because that's how they can take ownership. They can take ownership by taking away ownership from who? The Aboriginals, right? They took land away from the Aboriginals, right? Who's going into who? Who's going to you Israelites? You Israelites that own everything. They took away titles like kings, right? Princes. Now they're calling themselves kings and princes when by blood, right? Through blood inheritance, they are not kings. They are not princes. They are not rulers. Okay? Everything has been what?
Convoluted.
Exactly. It says intricately folded, twisted, or coiled. Okay? By what? By lies. By the lies of who? By a serpent. Okay? These serpent tongue people, right? These Edomites have coiled the truth. And that's why our people are in the state that they're in today, which is what? Which is lost. Which is why the scripture says what? Now this is Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, right? And it reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. But the point is, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And that's all that this woman represents. This woman, all right, let's go back to the video. She represents lack of knowledge.
Maybe 2, 3, 4, like triplets, like all that stuff exists, right? And it'd be easier to find like the lineage of a child through their mother.
No, you can't find the lineage of a child through the mother because the child was put inside of the mother. The child was already inside of the father, known as sperm, right? Known as a sperm. Before you were born, right? Or before you're inserted into your mother, you are just a sperm. That's all that you are. You're just sperm. Okay? So you cannot know who you are from your mother. You get to know who you are from your father's line, right? You and your father are tied metaphysically, right? Look that word up. I might get that word later. That's why when you are inserted into your mother gets morning sickness. The reason why she gets morning sickness is because her body views you as a foreign host inside of her body. That's why the mother has to get the what is that? Oh my gosh, what's that love hormone? Oxytocin, right? When a mother gives birth, right, and she breastfeeds, There's a bonding chemical that has to be released inside of the woman for her to be a good mother. The reason why there's such a high rate of bad mothers nowadays is because these women have a very low, or they have a chemical imbalance, right? And that release of the oxytocin is not there for a lot of these women. You want to know why a lot of these women are not good mothers? They're not bonded to their child because they are chemically imbalanced, whether it's drug use, whether it's alcohol abuse, whether it's a bad diet, right? These women, they eat unlawful foods, and because they eat unlawful foods, it distorts their chemical imbalance that's supposed to bond them with the child, right? Because when you are first put inside of your mother, her body automatically looks at it like a foreign host. Where did that foreign host come from? It came from the father. You are metaphysically bonded to your father. Okay? Now, this is the word metaphysical. I'm going to use AI overview. And it says metaphysical describes things related to metaphysics, the branch of philosophy concerned with the fundamental nature of reality, existence. That's why when a child does not know their father, they feel lost. Because you have to understand, yes, you come out of your mother through her birth canal, but you actually come out of your father, meaning that you come from your father. You are a part of him. He is a part of you. You are one, right? You are not one with your mother the way that you are one with your father, because really and truly your father replicated himself physically. Spiritually, you are your own person, right? Spiritually, we all have our own spirits. So yes, you are your own person spiritually, but you are a replication of that man. Okay? It says the branch of philosophy concerned with the fundamental nature of reality, existence, and being, right? Your whole being, often beyond the scope of empirical observation. Okay? So metaphysical, right? That's the connection you have with your father, right? That's the difference between the love that you have with your mother, which is more chemical. The love or the connection between you and your father, metaphysical. The love and connection between you and your mother is more chemical, right? That's why if you see a mama's boy, he's imbalanced. He's very imbalanced mentally, right? He has a chemical imbalance because that love that he has for his mother is more of a chemical imbalance that he has. Okay?
But we live in a patriarchal society, so fathers get the last name. Like, I like cultures where the child gets the last names of both their parents. Like, that also does make sense to me. But just to get the father sounds really, really dumb. Yeah, so when I have a child, it will be having my last name, because who the fuck?
Well, that's fine, because in this society it doesn't really matter whose last name the child has, right? It really and truly doesn't matter. In this society, sometimes it's even better for the child to have the mother's last name for legal purposes. It makes it easier because in this society, for the child to travel, they want all type of documentation, right? When you register the child in school, it's easier for the child to have the mother's last name, so it looks like the father and the mother are tied together. So now the child and the mother have the same last name. When the child has the father's last name, but the child is physically with the mother, and the mother has to do everything through documentation. it looks like a broken home. And in this system, as soon as they see a broken home, they look at you like a target, right? They look at you like prey. So in this society, things are a little bit different. So yes, ma'am, it right? There you have no inheritance. We own nothing in this society. So really and truly, it doesn't even matter. And in this society, we're suffering from what the scripture calls confusion of faces. We don't know who is or who we are, right? You people keep calling yourselves Africans, right? Or you're calling yourselves, oh, I'm Jamaican, I'm this. Well, if you were a real Jamaican or if you were a real African, don't you know that your last name would be Africa? But that's too deep for you. I'm not trying to go too deep for you people. If you people were real Jamaicans, don't you know your last name will be Jamaica? Don't you know that? For us, right, we are claiming to be Israelites, right? And when you go into our name is tied to our forefather, right? Like my name is a Howard. It would be a Howard Bun, right? Son of whoever my father is. Then Bun, Jacob, Bun, Isaac, Bun, Abraham, right? Which Jacob's name was later changed to Israel. So our lineage is actually tied to our forefathers, not our foremothers. Okay? Because if you want to be honest, our foremothers never inherited anything. The inheritance was given unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So really and truly, if you women want to do or go in this realm of, oh, my last name, my this, my that, then you women don't get anything, right? You get everything through the forefather, not through your foremother, right? But I just wanted to do a quick lesson on this. Salakia, my phone has been down. My phone has been broken. So hopefully I'll be able to be pushing out videos steadily again. This is the first of many, Lord willing, unless Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai decides to destroy this sinful kingdom, which then no more videos. But until then, right? Until the MOTB, until the third woe, right? Until the famine of the word, which the famine of the word is coming very, very soon. I'll be doing these videos, right? With that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I'd like to say double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and that teach well, and to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity. Only to the elect and the 144,000 and the 1/3, I should say. Shalom. Till next time. Kwam Yasharala and Abad Babal to this wicked, sinful kingdom.